The moment you try to start setting yourself apart from your peers is the moment that you start failing in your medical school interview. What's up guys, Dr. Ryan Gray back for another, what's hopefully a good YouTube video. This week and for the next several weeks, I'm excited for a deep dive into the medical school interview. Now, the medical school interview I've talked a ton about on the Pre-Med Years podcast, on the old Premeds podcast. I've done a bunch of webinars. I've written a whole book about the medical school interview. So hopefully with all of this content, you are going to be ready for the interview. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell notification to be notified of all of the videos that are coming up in the next several weeks. So let's talk about the medical school interview. What is it? Why is it important? And much more. We're gonna cover a ton of that stuff in the coming weeks, but I just wanna do a brief overview for you right now in this video. A lot of students wonder why the medical school interview is important. For instance, Carle, Illinois College of Medicine doesn't do a medical school interview. They think that the data shows that interviews are useless. Now, obviously, there's 170-ish other medical schools that disagree because they're the only ones that don't do an interview. But it's interesting. And the medical school interview, for me, why it's important is to understand who you are as a person, to understand how you communicate, to understand how well you act in an area of stress, right? The medical school interview day is stressful. How are you going to act in that situation? Are you going to act appropriate? Are you going to act like an alpha? How are you going to act? That's all important and is very hard to get across in an application. When you apply to medical school, you're putting down your personal statements, all of your activities, you're writing your secondary essays, you're getting letters of recommendations, which are hopefully pointing to some of these things that the interview will get out of you as well. But that's all on paper or in bits and bytes on a computer at this point. And the person, the reviewer looking at your application doesn't really know who you are from that information. And so the school says, come, let's chat. We like you well enough. We wanna date you a little bit to see if we want to marry you. That's what the medical school interview is for. And a lot of students unfortunately think that the medical school interview is their opportunity to sell the medical school, to sell the interviewers, to sell the admissions committee how amazing they are. They know you're amazing. They invited you for an interview. They know that you have done these things that you were trying to sell them on because they read your application. They liked you well enough to invite you for an interview. And you have to think about the teams behind the admissions committees. Admissions committees are usually pretty small. It's a very small group of people trying to figure out from thousands of applications the several hundred students they are going to invite for an interview and the 100 or so interviews or interviewees that they are going to ultimately accept. So they have to narrow down all of these students and figure out, and they liked you well enough to invite you, right? The interview spots are a very limited commodity. And if they invited you, it's because they liked you. They liked your activities, they liked your personal statement, they liked your secondaries, they liked your letters of recommendations, they liked your stats. Now your job on the interview trail, well, hopefully it is a trail, hopefully you have multiple interviews, your job on the interview is to show them who you are as a person, to show them that you can communicate, that you can connect. The interviewer's job, if it's a traditional interviewer, is to sit there and listen to you and have a conversation with you. And they are going to picture you taking care of their loved ones. I'm going to sit there and picture you if I'm doing a mock interview with you. I'm gonna sit there and picture you taking care of my kids, taking care of my wife. Do I want you doing that? Can I see you doing that? Or can I not? That's the ultimate goal in interview day. Let that person know that they should be able to trust you taking care of their loved ones. It's not to prove to them that you are competent to take care of their loved ones. It's not to prove to them that you've had all of these amazing, unique experiences that are gonna set you apart. The moment you try to start setting yourself apart from your peers is the moment that you start failing in your medical school interview. Go in, be yourself, have a conversation, answer the questions, have fun, learn about the school, and you will do well on your medical school interview. And so in the next several weeks, we're gonna do a deep dive into how to prepare for your interviews, what the MMI looks like, obviously what to wear and what to bring, all of that stuff, post-interview stuff, what the interview day looks like, and much more. So again, subscribe, hit that bell notification so that in the upcoming weeks, you are gonna get all of the information you need to succeed on your interview day.